Test 1. The registration and login system work correctly. This should be an empty file labeled spacesim users. You can create an account by pressing 1 and then entering a name and password, which should be saved to the file if it's reopened, which is shown to work. If you log in with an incorrect password, it doesn't let you in, and then if you use the correct username and password, you're allowed in. Test 2. The profile file stores user data. It contains discoveries, name and password, as well as a buffer between profiles so it can distinguish between them. Test 3. Menu interfaces work as intended. You can go onto the start menu, return to the main menu, head to the discoveries page, go back from there, and access the how to play. The next button would work, but there's no existing page currently, which is addressed in the objectives section. Test number 4 is to show that the information pages are provided to the user. When the user clicks on the Discoveries tab, you can view gravitation, go back, straight to the menu, and also the how to play section. Test number 5 is to prove the basics of the simulation work, which will be spawning planets, deleting them. Can also be deleted all at once by pressing the D key, returning to menu and showing that discoveries are correctly unlocked. This is have an object experience gravity, but there is placeholder text on the gravity information page currently. Test 6 is to show the ability to switch between pages, so if we just make sure we've unlocked gravity and collision, we can return to the main menu and see that you can access this page, go back, and then go to the next page. Test 7 shows that the background can be edited and reset. This is me pressing R key to make it more red, O to reset, G for green, and B for blue. Test number 8 is to show that objects interact correctly. As you can see, objects move towards each other. They're more affected by large objects. Once hit by another object, it gets sent in the other direction. And the smaller objects cease to exist. If you take a look at the mass on the side, you can see that once they do collide, their masses are added to the larger entity, which is not removed. The actual test number 9 is to show that the sidebar works correctly. That means the I have elected to not fix the sidebar because I even tried adding a whole nother GUI class and it just broke everything. I am going to go back to that GUI. This test number 10 is just to show that the simulation runs properly. The camera zooms in and out, can delete, place, pan it around, pan it with a bunch of objects, even though the trajectory lines mess up a little, delete them all, handle a bunch of different collisions, all at different zooms, as well as changing the background while everything's happening. Trajectory lines still disappear after a given amount of time. And for the menus, it'll just be stuff like going in, going out, checking your discoveries, going into the controls tab. Test number 11 is running through specific scenarios. For for example, if the file were to not exist, so what we'll do is I will delete that. So if I just go ahead and delete this file, then I rerun the program there and then create an account with the same username and password. It should, yep, new file, and it doesn't crash. It also won't let you log in with the correct username and incorrect password, and it won't let you log in with the correct username but an incorrect password. It also doesn't matter how far you zoom in. If you have a look, even though the object had a radius of 0, it still won't ever let it have a mass of 0, no matter how far you zoom in and how briefly you click for. The same also will apply for large planets, where if the mass goes to a certain threshold, but I believe because the way the numbers are handled in this, you'd have to be scrolling for far longer than anyone would ever be willing to, for it to actually get beyond that point. See, the radius is only 40 there, so I'm going to zoom out for a while and then show. As you can see here, the numbers are just getting ridiculously large and still doesn't crash. Test 12, the final test, would have been to go through all of these if they had been missed in previous testing, but I believe they've all been shown. The planet functions have been shown, the necessary calculations are just here, where you can see the force, and there's a function in the actual written code that'll be on the documentation that shows the apply force function, so these are all correct. This is adjusted later on. The background is created with stars and a gradient, editable. The start menu does all of these, and the only ones that are missing are the file with images in, guest options, and the reset burn. And now I have to go fix the sidebar.